Gülten Hanım here. We are waiting. Sibel Hanım and Elif Hanım. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's here, right, Emily?
Yeah, right, right.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah, we have 4 of our colleagues here with Meli also. So guys, let me introduce Richard and Lori. They're partners with Canada Academy. And this is the program that I've mentioned to some of you throughout, this past spring. So they will be showing us the program for completing a Canadian high school diploma online through Canada Academy and what the requirements are. I think Ms. Elif, you already know a little bit about it. So if there's any questions along the way, please do let us know. Okay, so I give the floor to Lori and Richard.
Okay, I think, Lori, if you give me 1 minute, then after we'll pass this to you. I think
Sure.
It's easier for everyone. So welcome today to this training session in Refer of Canada Academy. First of all, I would like to inform everyone here that we are working successfully with Canada Academy students from all around the world. We welcome students from everywhere, from China, Taiwan, Nigeria, UAE, Tunisia, Europe, Canada as well, South America. So many schools now, they are cooperating with Canada Academy, and they bring across a group of students like 20, 25, 30, 35. And for this, we organize it like the first Monday on every month will be start a classroom. So when we have a classroom ready for grade 10, 20 students, they are ready to start. For example, the next month is the 2nd of November, then the 7th of December, and the 18th of January. So this is how we work. We work with classroom with a minimum number of students, in order that the teacher is able to follow the entire program with the school. We call this classroom, we can call this a learning center, but usually we work with school with a minimum of 20, 25 students. So now Lori, she's wake up very early today in Canada. I think it's around 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So thank you to be here as well, to give a training now in refer of what is the OSSD diploma, which is the Ontario Secondary School Diploma. You will be able to find about the Ontario Secondary School Diploma as well on Google. As you know, Google is our teacher today. And this is an official accredited diploma, worldwide accredited. So Canada Academy is teaching students from all around the world in order to reach the grade 12 and obtain the OSSD diploma. This is in few words. So Laurie, all of you, now you can start.
No, thank you, Richard. So so my name's Lori, and I am the principal and co-founder of Canada Academy Online. And I've put together a presentation, and it's a lot of information, but it's a lot of I think it answers a lot of the questions that Richard and myself have gotten over the time that we've been working together and with schools. And I'm hoping that it'll just sort of make it a little bit clearer. And as Richard said, we do normally work with schools with partnerships, but we do take what I understand that, with COVID, things have changed quite a bit. And so, a lot of countries still don't have schools open. So we are accommodating that by starting what we call kind of virtual classes. So the students are working from home, but we have groups that start together. So today I'm just going to be presenting basically from that point of view, from the fact that the schools are not open in Turkey. And so what I'll do is I'll just share. Can I share my screen, Risha? And then I think you have to just enable that for me.
Yep, you can go ahead and do that now.
Thank you. So I am going to, and so stop me anytime, just because it is a lot of information. And sorry, how do I always do it a different way here. I don't know why I can't see it.
This is the new presentation you prepared for this week.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So let me just do.
Don't worry. It's Monday.
It is Monday. It's Canadian Thanksgiving
Yes,
today,
by the way.
this weekend. So we've had beautiful weather for it, actually. It's been so nice here.
Happy
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you. All right, so can everybody see?
Yes.
Okay. So as Richard mentioned, we offer the Ontario Secondary School Diploma. And this is a Canadian high school diploma that's accepted worldwide at all of the top universities. And I think that Grisha's probably shared with you that students can get into any university with this diploma. They can get into the top universities in the US, the UK, in Asia, Singapore, everywhere. And they don't have to take anything else after. This is, and in some cases, for example, there are many universities in the United States that will take some of our credits and give credits for their first year college credits, because our grade 12 university prep courses are equivalent to many of the first year college in the United States. So just for the sake of understanding as I go through, every student has to earn 30 secondary school credits, and 6 of these credits must be grade 12 university level credits. And one course equals 1 credit. So if they take a grade 12 English course, that's 1 credit. The course length is between 90 to 110 hours per credit course, but the time a student spends in the program will vary based on the number of courses they need and how the course is delivered, and also on the student's ability. So just to give you an idea of how long it usually takes a student. So right now, students usually take 2 courses at a time, and if they are in another school, so if they're taking a day school as well, usually it takes them about 9 weeks to finish the 2 credits. And sometimes students go through it faster than that, but the maximum is 9 weeks. How do international students earn their OSSD? So they can earn it from their home country, from a partner school. We offer all of the courses and requirements completely online. They can work from an international partner school or home. Once they're registered, they are issued an Ontario education number. They are registered with the Ministry of Education in Ontario as soon as we put them into the system, and that number follows them for life. Like that number is theirs forever. And through a series of assessments and an application process that recognizes a student's formal and informal learning, students can earn up to 26 of the 30 secondary school credits required to graduate. Oh, it should be 24 of the 26 of the 30 secondary school credits required to graduate. And this is called prior learning assessment and recognition. Now, it's more common for students to earn 24. It's usually mature students that already have their grade 12 and have been in the world of work for a year or two that are able to earn up to 26. And so we call our equivalency process prior learning assessment and recognition, which is called PLAR. So the PLAR and the equivalency credits. So international students can earn equivalency credits for their formal school training and their national curriculum. So for example, for grade 9, we are allowed to grant up to 8 equivalency credits for grade 9, and then 8 for grade 10, and 8 for grade 11. So that would be up to 24. International students can also earn equivalency credits for some of their informal training, such as piano, dancing, for some elite sports as well. Piano and dance are the most recognized ones. So with the Royal Academy of Music and of Dance, if they've gotten to a certain level, so for example, for ballet, if they have up to their I think it's grade intermediate ballet, they are able to earn 2 credits. And then for piano, it's the grade 8 with the Royal Academy of Music. And so this document right here, and I'm going to share this presentation with you so that you have it for reference afterwards. And this is taken straight out of the Ontario Schools document, and it shows what the principal is allowed to grant. So the equivalency credits based on the official transcript submitted by the student. So it's really important that when a student registers that I get all their official transcripts, and if they're not in English, they'll have to be translated in English, and that it's very clear what grade it is. So if it's not called grade 9 in their national curriculum, that it's clear that it would be equivalent to our grade 9. Just so, because every country has different names, and so we, just to help us. As well, if there are any additional things like what the national curriculum is called, that would also be helpful as well. So this gives you exactly what has to happen. Now, when you look at this, when you're referring to this, you have to also remember this only takes into consideration a student graduating with the diploma. It doesn't mean that they will have all the requirements to go into their pathway. So to go into their pathway, universities usually have a percentage that the student has to have for their average, and they also have certain courses that are required. And so we've put together packages so that students can earn those pathways and be able to be accepted. So for example, if they wanted to go into business commerce, we make sure they have the credits for that. If they wanted to go into the health sciences to become a doctor, we make sure that they have those as well. But this lays out pretty much how we're allowed to grant the equivalency credits. So what else do students need for university admission? So in Canada, there are 3 pathway options. There's the world of work, college, and university. And each option allows students particular opportunities. So the world of work pathway, our international students do not pursue this pathway, but I thought it just important just to explain it. So this is when students earn their OSSD and they're not trying to get into university, so they don't take any university preparatory courses. They just earn their high school diploma and they go straight to the world of work. They don't go to college or university. And then we have college and university pathway. So in Canada, college and universities are different institutions. I know in the United States, the terms are often used synonymous. I always have a hard time with that. The same. So universities offer different types of programs compared to colleges. So Canadian universities basically focus on professional and academic programs. So bachelor's, master's, PhDs. On the other hand, the primary focus of the Canadian colleges is on career training and trades. And so what happens often with international students is when they come to Canada, they don't have the requirements to go to university, so they will apply to a college and they'll do a diploma at a college and then transfer to a university afterwards. Whereas in Canada, you don't have to do that transition in between. And so this is what this offers international students. If they get their OSSD, they can go straight into university if that's what they're looking for. So 95% of our international students choose the university pathway. So the college pathway courses, so students taking the college pathway would choose college preparation high school courses, and these course codes have a C at the end. So for example, ENG 3C is grade 11 college preparation English, or they have an M at the end. MCF 3M is grade 11 college and university preparation applications and functions math. So C courses can be used for admissions to college only, and M courses can be used for admissions to college and universities. Not many of our students pursue this pathway, but we do have some students, and there are a very few hybrid college diplomas as well. So students can take a course, like for example, there's an advertising and marketing and communication program at the local college here in Ottawa. Students can take their college diploma, and it's 3 years, and then they can do an extra year, and it is with collaboration with Nipissing University, and then they earn their bachelor's in that 4th year. Now, the university pathway courses, and this is the most popular pathway for our international students, and I'm assuming that this is what you will be pointing your students into this direction. So the students taking the university pathway would choose university preparation high school courses, and these course codes have a U at the end. So ENG3U is grade 11 university preparation English, or they have an M at the end, which is the same example as before, MCF3M, grade 11 college and university preparation applications and functions math. U courses can be used for admissions to college and university, but please note colleges do not require U level courses for admissions, but because the course level is higher than C level, students can use these courses for admissions to both. And then M courses can be used for admissions to college and universities. So universities have required courses for specific pathways. Each university pathway requires specific grade 12 university level preparation courses for admission to their program. For example, students wishing to be admitted to a Bachelor of Commerce Marketing program in university must have the following grade 12 U courses. And so that's the grade 12 English, grade 12 functions, grade 12 calculus and vectors, and grade 12 data management. And then plus 2 additional 4U level courses of their choice. But please note, Kanata Academy highly suggests elective courses to students that we know can yield a higher average and help students earn the admission grade average they need. We also choose courses to lessen workload for students while keeping in mind to choose courses universities value. So for example, we know what the course load is. And so if a student is taking a heavy course load already, we might steer them in the direction of a course that would not be as difficult and that would help them increase their average. Another example to help explain course choices. So for students wishing to be admitted to a Bachelor of Science program in university in hopes of entering medical school must have the following grade 12 U courses. And so this is grade 12 English, grade 12 functions, grade 12 calculus and vectors, grade 12 chemistry, grade 12 physics, and grade 12 biology. I'll add the names to this slide before I share it. On the next slide, we'll discuss the prerequisites needed for grade 12 university preparation courses, because students cannot be admitted to these courses without the proper prerequisite courses in grade 11. So the grade 11 university preparation prerequisite courses. So just a little bit of background. So in Canada, in grade 9 and 10, students take either an applied pathway or an academic pathway. The applied pathway will go towards college, and the academic pathway will go towards university. Once a student transfers over to grade 11, that's when they start taking their college pathway formally and their university pathway formally. So the grade 11 university preparation prerequisite courses are actually, they can be used if a student takes grade 11 in Canada or with a Canadian school. When we upload their marks to the Ontario University Application Centre in November of their graduating year, their grade 11 course marks are the only marks we have at that time. So those marks go up, and that, if they're high enough, universities will offer conditional early acceptance based on their university preparation courses for grade 11. If students don't have either their marks in grade 11 weren't high enough, or if they only started in the Ontario curriculum in grade 12, then they'll start getting admission offers in February, which is the majority of students, even in Canada, end up, just because students tend not to often think about university admission until the last year. So marks aren't always the highest in grade 11. So students must have the prerequisite courses. For example, a student wishing to take the business pathway, as discussed 2 slides ago, must have the following prerequisites in grade 11 or the equivalent from their national curriculum. So they'll have to have a grade 11 university English or the equivalent. So if they're not in a if they're not in an English-speaking high school, I have to look at what they've taken in English. If it's more of an English as a second language course, then oftentimes they'll have to take their grade 11 first. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later. And then the grade 11 functions or the equivalent from their national curriculum. If they've taken grade 11 math in their national curriculum, I always give them their prerequisite for that. Unless their math mark is low, I might highly suggest they take the grade 11 university functions course, but if I don't make it mandatory. It's really up to the student, and the student knows their ability and they know whether or not it would be in their best interest to. So another example, and this is, we come into this a lot because many students want to do the science pathway. So, you know, they want to go into medicine. And so if they do that, this is where they have a lot of, they need their grade 11 English, they need their grade 11 math, grade 11 chemistry, grade 11 biology, and grade 11 physics. So they need all of those either from Ontario or in their national curriculum to have all the prerequisites to go into our grade 12 pathway program. So what happens if a student does not have the prerequisites for the pathway they wish to take? So a student can take the grade 11 university preparation prerequisites prior to taking the grade 12 course. It is not a problem for students wanting to complete grade 12 in 1 year, even if they still need to take prerequisite grade 11 courses. So a student can safely add 3 more courses to their grade 12 courses and still finish in a year. If a student needs more than 3, they have 2 choices. 1, they can take the extra time to complete the following year, or 2, they can take courses in the summer. And there's also actually a third choice, which I'll talk about in a second, and it's called the challenge process. So this is, are there other ways for a student to earn an Ontario credit? And yes, students can challenge a credit. So this is a way of fast tracking. So if students can choose to challenge a credit if they already have the knowledge and skills for that course. So students may challenge up to 2 credits in any discipline. So 2 math, 2 science, 2 social science, etc. Students would request this by completing a course challenge request form and submitting it to the principal. And then the student would then write the final exam of the course without taking the course. We see this a lot with students who are very strong in mathematics or very strong in sciences. So they may come to us in grade 12, but they already have a very high knowledge of math. And so they might challenge the grade 12 functions, or they may challenge, the grade 12 chemistry or physics. Those are the 3 most commonly challenged courses. So the students write the final exam. The final exam mark would be their final mark in the course and the mark entered on their Ontario student transcript, which is the official transcript in Ontario. And so why are challenge credits important for students taking their national curriculum at the same time as their OSSD? So students can take the similar course in their national curriculum, and Kanata Academy will provide the student with the final exam review of the course they wish to challenge. So students could then write the final exam for the Ontario course and earn their credit without having to take the course. Students could even write the final exam at the same time as their national exam for the equivalent exam. So they would then earn 2 credits at the same time, 1 for their national curriculum and 1 towards their OSSD. So for example, a student can take their grade 12 chemistry course at their school in their home country, and at the end of the course, they can write their final exam for the course. At the same time, students can book their grade 12 chemistry exam with Kanata Academy. They can write the course exam, and after successful completion of the exam, they will be granted the course credit. It's a huge time saver. Now, if this was in a school with a partner school, then we would work with the teacher in the school, and the teacher in the school would then have, we would be able to help them map out the differences, and they could include, if there was anything that would be missing in their curriculum, they can include it for their students. But this way works too. We have many students who do it this way. So questions about challenging credits. How does a student prepare for a challenge? They'll be given the review for the exam. Can a student access tutoring So yes, if a student has paid for the unlimited live tutoring service that we offer, they can access a live tutor at any time to go over the review for the exam. So they have somebody who can help them. And what happens if a student is unsuccessful with the challenge? So if a student can take if a student is unsuccessful, they can take the full course, not the challenge, but it will be an additional fee to cover the cost of the challenge. Does a challenge credit look different on a transcript? No, it looks exactly the same as a non-challenged credit. So when that transcript is submitted to universities, it's on the Ontario student transcript exactly the same. There's no code or anything that shows that it's challenged. What about English? So to make sure students will be successful in grade 11 university preparation English, we require a score of 5.5 on the IELTS. For a student to be successful in grade 12 university preparation English, we require a score of 6.5 on the IELTS. And then I'm going to answer some questions that I know will arise from that. So what if a student does not have an IELTS score? So we have our own online English placement test for students that they can take as well. And what if a student does not have the level needed to be successful? So if they don't have the level in IELTS or they don't have the level with our placement tests, they can take an English as a second language course, and those are actually credits. So they work towards a student's Ontario Secondary School diploma. So they can be used as their electives. So students can take one or more of these credit courses until they are at the level needed to be successful. And can a student still take their other courses while taking English as a second language? And so yes, absolutely. It doesn't mean it would necessarily slow a student down. It just means they might start with their math and science first. So they can still take math and science courses while building their English skills. And our ESL courses are developed specifically to get students ready for the U-level English. So the requirement only applies to grade 11 and 12 university preparation English courses. So if a student wasn't going the university pathway, there are other English courses they could take. The other requirements for the OSSD. So the students must pass the Ontario Secondary School Literacy Test to earn their OSSD, and they must earn 40 hours of community service to earn their OSSD. But don't panic, there's more information coming. So the OSSLT, the test, is written in the spring of every school year. It's always on, it's usually the end of March or April. And I think we might have the date for this year. Students can write their test at a location near where they live. The principal, which would be me, must approve the place it will be written and approve the proctor. The place chosen should be an educational I should say institution, a doctor's office, lawyer's office, or an education agency. If a student fails the test, they can take a short literacy course in lieu of the test. There is an additional cost for the test. Now, it's important to note that students who complete their 6th grade 12 courses before February 2021, and it's actually very possible for students to do that if they start soon, they do not have to take the test for this school year. There's an exemption because of COVID-19. So, and there is a slim possibility that the test will be canceled again for this coming year, but it hasn't been announced yet. They still are saying, but it depends. Right now in Canada, schools are open, but our cases have really risen a lot. So they just put us back to phase 2, a modified phase 2 on Friday. The only thing that they've left open that is supposed to be closed in phase 2 are the schools. So I think they're just trying to see if we can stay open. Now the community service hours. So students must complete 10 hours of community service a year. So if they come to us for their grade 12 year, that means they only have to complete 10 hours, not 40. There's a form we provide for students to fill out and get signed by a supervisor, parent. So community service hours during COVID are a little bit more difficult. So we're encouraging students, and we're much more lenient right now, and think of creative ways. Like they could do a letter writing campaign to seniors living in a nursing home. They can deliver groceries to the elderly, sew masks to donate. They can do some virtual tutoring to help students. There's all sorts of different ways, and we have a lot of a lot of things we can recommend to students if they ask us. So how does a student join Kanata Academy? So there's a form site registration form that you'll be provided with. You upload all the transcripts on that registration site. They must be translated into English, and it must be clear which grade the transcript represents. Even if it is not called grade 9 in the national curriculum, it must be labeled grade 9 for our guidance counselors. Proof of attending an English school for 3 years, or an official IELTS score document must be uploaded if they have it. If there's no proof of attending an English school for 3 years or an official IELTS score, then the student must take Kanata Academy's English placement test. Here. And so how does a student join Kanata Academy? Continue. Students choose their pathway program on the form site registration form. And I believe you have documents that lay out the different pathways. And if not, we can share that with you. And then we review the documentation and we make sure that students have the equivalency credits and the prerequisites. The Kanata Academy guidance counselors will release the students' course timetables based on the requisites to pursue their chosen university pathway to WEBA. And then WEBA will share that and invoice the student and or agency. The cost is determined after the transcript and the English competency review. And the reason why is because it depends on how many courses the student needs to earn their OSSD. Once the payment is received, students will receive a welcome email, which will include their teachers on that email. And then teachers will then contact students to arrange for the orientation session within 48 business hours or on the predetermined start date. So for cases like right now, we're getting groups of students together. So you might, have a group of students and the registration forms kind of trickle in over a week or two. And so then the students you will have already told the students what that predetermined start date is. Students will join predetermined group start dates throughout the month. It is important for agencies to keep the desired start dates in mind when managing their time for the registration, the transcript review, and the payment, just so that there's a lot of time before the start date. How many courses does a student take at one time? So students will complete 2 courses at a time. Courses on average will take a maximum of 9 weeks to complete, but it can take less depending on the student's dedication, skills, and time management, and also the course. The school determines the schedule of the courses. So sometimes we'll have students say, well, I'd like to do my phys ed first, but it goes on the schedule of when other students and when our teachers are working. So how are the courses delivered? So I know you've seen a video that shows we use the learning management system called EDSB. Students also complete all their assignments on Google Drive. Students are issued a school Google account. Now, does Google work in Turkey? It does, right? Yeah. So this includes their email and all G Suite applications such as Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Drive, Google Forms, and many more applications that we use. Students will upload all their work to a shared Google Drive course folder. And students have access to interactive course Pear Deck lessons. And these are actually new since we talked last, Grisha. We have implemented these interactive lessons and they're amazing. And students love them. And during these lessons, they complete formative and summative assessments. And students will have access to pre-recorded proprietary video lessons as well as pre-recorded open source video lessons. And some of the pre-recorded proprietary video lessons are the regular MP4. We might have them on our YouTube channel. They're a private video that the students will watch. We also have started creating TikTok lessons for the students, which they're loving, and they're very cute. Teachers will create individual video lessons to answer student questions and explain lessons, assignments, and activities. So if a student messages a teacher and asks a question, most of the time the teacher responds with a video. It makes it more personal, but it's also the teacher is able to show things on the screen and really answer questions a lot better. The teachers also create solution videos for homework, for math, science, and they will also create feedback videos for assignments. So for example, for a math test, going through the solutions, going through where the student might have encountered problems. For an essay, going through the essay and giving the feedback so that the student knows what they need to change for the next time. And the teachers can also schedule on-demand live sessions. And obviously this is one of the things that Kanata offers, but what we've actually noticed is that students are preferring, and I think it's their generation, they're preferring the individualized videos that are being sent to them. And it tends to be for an exam review they might request. So if students purchase access to the unlimited live tutoring service, they'll have access to a live tutor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So the time difference does not come into effect. Students will complete a variety of assessments that will include conversation, observation, and product. And that's one of the hallmarks of the Ontario curriculum, is that we are not exam-based. And we're not actually even product-based. We have to show to the ministry that we are offering students a variety of ways to show what they know. And that's through conversation, observation, and product. And this is especially important for students that English is their second language, because oftentimes, you know, the written product could be a lot more difficult to do. And so they have different ways to show their knowledge, and this results in higher marks. So we're not exam-based, and most of our course summatives, so the final, is usually a rich task. So it's not an exam, a memorization typed exam. It's a project that covers many of the overall and specific expectations for the course. The reporting procedures. So Kanata Academy creates an official Ontario student record. So it's called the OSR for each student as required by the Ontario Ministry of Education. And all official reports are kept in this folder. So if you have a student in Turkey that was actually going to a school in Ontario and could not come back, and so they're going to join Kanata Academy online in the meantime, they will already have an OSR in Canada. So what we'll do is we'll contact their principal and say, you know, we'll take the OSR in the interim, because that's the rule with the ministry. We take the OSR, we add our stuff to it, and then when they come back to Canada, they fill out a request form, and then we courier it back to their home school. All official reports are kept there. This record stays available for 55 years. So it's a really important, so whichever school has that record at the end is either required to keep it for 55 years, or if the school closed down, then it gets sent to a ministry location in Toronto to be archived. Students will receive a midterm report card at the halfway point of the course, and they'll receive a final report card at the completion of the course. The final report card will have their mark and show that a credit was earned. And then all the final marks and credits are then entered onto the Ontario student transcript. The students' official Ontario student transcripts are issued upon graduation with their report card and sent to all universities at no cost. But if a student wishes to have an official copy of their OST at a different time, there is an additional fee. And the reason why we had to put this on is because we found some parents, they want, like, you know, they're asking for it at every report card, they're asking for an official transcript. And when we print those official transcripts, we can only print them on ministry paper. And so they actually courier it to us, special delivery. The paper, we're only allowed a certain amount at a time. And so that paper, if it's not on that paper, schools won't accept it. So the university application process. So students registered with Kanata Academy, they're now Canadian students. This means they apply for universities as a domestic student through the 101 application system. So this means their application is considered the same as a Canadian citizen application. We create their Ontario University Application Center account for each graduating student in November of their graduating year. So for the students that are graduating this year, we set up their account in in a month. And then students will attend a virtual information session where they'll receive all their access information and be walked through how to access and use their account. They do not have to do anything with uploading marks or any of their personal information. All they have to do is go through and pick their universities. And we show them how to do that and how to make sure that they have the prerequisites. So we do all the official marks and communicating with the center. Students then take grade 11 courses with, the students that take grade 11 courses with Kanata Academy, as I mentioned before, are eligible for an early conditional acceptance based on their grade 11 grades. So it doesn't mean they go to university earlier. It just means their spot at the university is reserved, and it will be their spot if they successfully earn their OSSD. Students who do not take grade 11 courses with Kanata Academy will begin to hear from universities in February of their graduating year. International students still have to pay international student tuition fees, but just to let you know, there's a lot of work and advocating being done in Canada right now to change the tuition fees for international students so they are more in line with the domestic fees, and hopefully the changes are not too far away. At this time, permanent residents are able to pay domestic tuition fees. International students that earn a Canadian diploma are part of a fast track process for immigration and permanent residency. So they may come over and be considered, paying international student fees at first, and then earn their permanent residency quickly, and then be eligible for domestic tuition fees. Do students need to pay agencies to help with the application process? We find this happens a lot in China, is that I think it's a big business there, is that agencies will charge a fee for it, but this is actually really, it's unneeded, but it's actually a problem because a third party can't get involved in the application process in Canada. It's actually it's not even possible. So what happens is that the agencies apply for these students through the wrong application process. And then when the application center realizes the student is an Ontario student registered with the Ministry of Ontario, their application process done through the agency becomes null and void. And they lose all their money they've paid for that. Only registered and licensed Canadian schools can submit student applications through the 101 application process. And so agencies don't have access to this process. And I'm just mentioning this just because it has become more of a problem in recent years. And I've seen some students and their families lose a lot of money through this. So in conclusion, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Laurie, I just wanted to point out something. If you go back on the slide before,
Sure.
just to clarify this point here, many agents from around the world, they do application into Canadian university if they have an agreement with the Canadian university, like University of Toronto, to make a name, etc., and they receive a commission. So this is quite common. But now, because they want to send students to Kanata Academy, which they receive a Canadian number, then it's different because the agents have to understand that the process is different. Just to clarify this point, because agents, they can still continue to register students into Canadian university. There is not a problem. But if the agent is aware that the student is doing a Canadian high school and received the OSSD diploma, then the application process is different. Then the agents cannot interfere anymore into the application into the university, because I can imagine that an agent has an agreement with the university already since years, and they send a lot of students, and now they say, okay, now I send to the Kanata Academy from high school, fantastic, so I can have double commission. Unfortunately not because of this one-on-one application process. Just to clarify this point to Grecia and all the other people here, because I can see there are many agents, and now I know how agents are making their own money.
Now, that being said, this is only for Ontario.
Yes.
So it's the OUAC is the Ontario University Application Center. So if students are applying in British Columbia or they're applying in the United States, agents can still do those application processes. It's just for the Ontario universities. And that's because we consider our international students domestic. once they are registered with us. And so they get all the perks of the Canadian students. And so with that comes, we have to put them through the proper channels.
Okay, so if I understood correctly, if a student from wherever in the world is studying through Kanata Academy, and they're planning to go to university, then Kanata Academy will provide them those services, such as for college applications and university, so that way the agent or the school or the teacher, whoever has been helping them along the way, does not need to get involved at all if they're going through Kanata Academy, because Kanata Academy is already providing that support for Ontario. Correct?
For Ontario, yes, and that's for any Ontario school, not just, it's one of the things we have to follow from the ministry.
Okay.
It's one of the ministry rules, but it does not apply for other provinces or countries.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to be a little bit clear about that.
Yes,
Thank you.
just for Ontario. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So it's a lot of information that I just shared, but I'm going to make the presentation available to everyone so that you can refer to it, later review. And then if there's any questions, so for clarification of education-related questions, you can contact me. For clarification of fee-related questions, you can contact Richard. And so we kind of divide and conquer for the questions. But and then now, are there any questions that I can answer, things that I might have missed that
I was going to ask about the English assessment that you have online. Obviously, right now they cannot really take the IELTS. Our students can't do that because of COVID. So then the English assessment would be done online. Is that like how far along should they take it? So for example, let's say that they want to intake in the next month, November, for that group of students. Do they need to take it like a certain couple of weeks before? Do you have a deadline for that when they want to apply?
No, as long as it's completed at the time of before I review it. So if you were submitting the application on Wednesday, I would suggest that they have the test done by Wednesday.
Okay.
So that we can,
yeah, and just to make sure that I grasp everything, because it's a little bit different than what we had discussed before. So so now we will just a general process of application for us. A student comes through to us and says, okay, I want to apply to Kanata Academy. We will need their transcripts in English, their application that you will send us, and then we will submit that to you, Lori, and we will say, here's the student, here's their application, their information, and then you will send us a pathway of what they want to study and the courses that they will need to take, and then we will move forward, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And so in the application process, part of that is the student chooses what their pathway is. Now, there are some pathways, like there are that they can go into. So for the business pathway, like if a student isn't sure and they're like, well, maybe I want computer science, wait, maybe I want business, maybe I want engineering, we're able to put together a pathway where they could get into all three of them.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So we're able to do that as well. The only one that is the most difficult is the science pathway, just because they don't have a lot of leeway because there's so many prerequisites. It pretty much takes up all their grade 12 courses would be mandatory to get into the health sciences.
Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty clear for me. I don't know if there will be questions from our team. I'm sure we will discuss them in a little bit afterwards.
Sorry, maybe you can share the form site link so you can explain how it works for the application, which it looks complicated, but it's very simple. Now,
I would need to find, I actually think that, let me see here if I can do that. So form site.
I can show it if you wish.
Oh, I found it. There we go. So this is what the form looks like. So the student puts in their name, phone number, and this is where they will upload their transcripts. Now, they might not, maybe they're only coming for grade 9, so they wouldn't have any transcripts to upload, or they're only coming for grade 11, so they won't have a grade 12. Like, it's only if it's applicable.
Mm-hmm.
And then state what it's called, their curriculum is called. If they have an English, an IELTS, the agency information, and for the agency, Richard gives a code so that the proper agency gets compensated. Here, what you wish to register for, so if it's grade 11, 12, and then this is where the package is chosen. So if it's for grade 12, it would be, you would pick the business science, computer science, or general education. And same for grade 11, because that's when you have to pick your pathways. Grade 9 is just, and grade 10 are just the packages for grade 9 and 10. And we put everybody automatically in the academic pathway. We just assume that everybody's getting their OSSD to go to university. So unless if the agent knows differently, then they can let us know. And then this is more information. We do need at first the student's personal email, because that's where the welcome email will go. But when they get their welcome email, that will include their login information for their Kanata Academy email, and their login information. Well, their Kanata Academy email is actually their EDSB, their learning management system login as well. And then this is what's your destination. And then, you know, what's your dream basically? Is it the University of Toronto for business? Is it Queen's University for computer science? Wherever it is that they want to. And then also, if they have a WeChat or a WhatsApp, we ask that students share it, because for communication, we have students can contact their teachers directly in EDSB, and there is an EDSB app as well. But what we have found is that it's much faster to get student to respond on WhatsApp, or many of our Chinese students use WeChat, but WhatsApp seems to be the most popular. So the teacher will have a teacher WhatsApp account, and they will set up either, if it's a group, set up a group chat, or individual. And students like it because they can get in touch with their teacher easily, and then teachers like it because they can keep their students on track. Students are contacted daily by their teacher, and it's usually just, hi, just, you know, letting you know that if you have any questions, please, you know, making sure you're on track. And so that's it.
Perfect.
So it's pretty straightforward. And if I have any questions afterwards, then I would contact you. But basically, if everything gets uploaded, and it's usually pretty clear.
Okay.
And then we'll go back.
Well, that's great. We have our admissions team that here, Miss Sibel, Miss Sibel is the one that is supporting us with all this process. Our other colleagues are the ones recruiting students. So probably your communication, once it's we come to this point of registration, most likely Miss Sibel is the one that will be communicating with Kanata Academy for any additional requirements that will be necessary for that. But for now, unless Miss Sibel or Elif, if you have any questions.
I just thought of another thing that might be important. So if you have students who are maybe doing competitive sports or anything like that, we do have special credits they can get for that as well. That would be more applicable to students in the lower grades that might need extra credits. So there's many creative ways to help students get credits.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you. So was there anything else Richard, did you want to add anything?
No, I think it's clear. Everything's clear. And now we have to see with Grecia how she will move forward with all the people. Like I mentioned in the beginning, there are different starting dates that we have now. The next one is the 2nd November, 7th December, and 18th of January. So we try to bring a lot of students during this timing. So in refer of the agreement, we will discuss this with Grecia, if they will bring classroom students or if there will be a different number of students. So we did a training session today so that everyone is understand and clear about this. And if Grecia can share a copy of this presentation from today, it will be great. And
yes.
I think so far everything is fine for me. You want to add something, Rachel?
No, I think we've covered everything. It's pretty clear now as to how the process is for our students that will be coming from other schools through us. So for me right now, it's everything. I think, Richard, if we can have another meeting maybe down the line, just to discuss the agreement again, then we can do that. Okay. And then for me, that's all for now. Sibel or Elif, do you guys have any questions?
No.
No. Okay, great. So I will share this presentation with everybody so that you guys can see the recording. Thank you so much, Lori. Happy Thanksgiving again. So sorry, I didn't know it was Thanksgiving. You know, in America, it's until November, so I was not aware.
Yes.
So
No, it was actually perfect because then I have the time.
Okay,
yeah, no,
great.
I'm more than happy. It was wonderful to meet with everybody.
Thank you for joining us so early. And thank you, Sibel and Elif. Meli, thank you for arranging this. So Richard will communicate through email just to set up a little bit more details on the other details for our collaboration.
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay.
I will do. Thank you very much. Thank you for everything. All the best.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Perfect. Bye. See you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.